Okay, so I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna just pass on.
It's recording.
Okay. Tuesday.
Thank you, thank you.
There she is. She's walking in. I'm gonna slow it. She's walking. Are you 220?
Oh, right.
I'm sorry, I'm not even going by like what ward. I don't know. So I'm just going about.
That's up to you.
Okay, no, I'm just saying, I don't give up on that. So I don't really know. Okay, she is.
Good evening.
Okay.
Sure, we're gonna have to set up downstairs.
Michelle. How's it going?
That'll make things less.
All right. Okay, I know you just got here, but you ready?
I'm ready, like.
It was hard.
You were born ready. You got the little swoop going. I know you ready. All right. Lori, are you ready? Okay. Are
Conversation.
you all set?
I didn't get back to you. I didn't know the call. That was about now.
I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Deputy Clerk, Lori, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilcoxen,
Present.
Mayor Brown,
Present.
Councilmember Sweet,
Present.
Councilmember Tucson,
Present.
Simmons. Councilmember McLean,
Here.
Councilmember,
Present.
Thank you. Can someone move to excuse if you plan to?
I move to excuse Councilmember Simmons.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. Please rise as you're able for a moment of silence and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. I will entertain a motion for agenda approval.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Are there any updates or changes? I saw Councilmember King and then Mayor Pro Tem.
Two, one, I want to move item letter K to A
And resolutions
in resolution.
motions, okay?
And I also want to take the F out of the consent agenda.
So F would then become L.
Yeah.
All right, F will become L under resolutions.
I was gonna move to just remove everything from the consent.
Oh,
Would you prefer to do that, Councilmember King?
That's fine.
Okay. All right. Do you still want K to come before all of those things? Since they're all gonna be resolutions? Or do you want to just go in order?
no, because what Mayor Pro Tem said, he wants to just, no, K to come before, because it's right here on A. So I want K to be moved up here to A.
Right, so just keep
In res-
consent in the order it's in the.
Correct.
Okay, perfect, all right. So K will be moved to A under resolutions, motions and discussions. And we'll move to the consent agenda as presented. If everyone is in favor of the amended agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay, isn't that what you just asked for?
No, well, I want that. I just didn't want to advance that all the way up there. Just go forward.
Oh, all righty. Okay. All right. This is our first opportunity for public comment. Members of the audience will have 3 minutes to address council, starting with those who have signed up on the list that is out in the hallway. I'll move from the list to hands in the audience. It's okay. Then I will move from the hands in the audience to those on Zoom. We ask that you adhere to your 3 minutes, please. We see we have a very large crowd. Thank you for being with us. And that we, present with respect for all voices, because we know that there are going to be differing opinions, and I want to name that right now. And so when your 3 minutes is up, I would ask that you please be seated or mute yourself so that we can move on to the next speaker. And the first name I have here is Letitia Horry. Yes. And please approach the podium. If you could state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, all the wonderful citizens that are here. I'm actually listed as a presentation also. So I didn't receive confirmation of that. So I don't know if you wanted me to go now, which could be, I can do it within the 3 minutes, whatever you feel is best.
You can go in 3 minutes.
I can. But when you get to the presentation, you'll be able to see it. For the record, my name is Letitia Ori. I am actually a resident of Romulus, Michigan, but I am also an MSW student at the University of Michigan, working with our Washtenaw Intermediate School District. So this evening, greetings to all. I am here as a part of the WISD Bridge team. It's directed by Ms. Darnisha Green. As you know, the WISD supports all 9 school districts within the county. The Bridge team is a special program that supports the mental health of the students within K through 12th education. That doesn't mean it ends at age 18. It means to the end of 12th grade. Throughout all the districts, the Bridge team is comprised of licensed clinical social workers that offer counseling and coordination, intervention strategies to support students that can be offered in individual and group sessions. The Bridge team also offers consultation and collaboration, utilizing wraparound techniques to address mental health challenges for our students. Our team is focused on helping students in crisis. And as you know, here in Ypsilanti Community Schools, we have had some crisis situations recently. We're very happy that the Bridge team were able to step in. One of the huge benefits of the Bridge team is just that, to be able to step in and have a direct and positive influence on academic success, both in and outside of the classroom, improving performance, decreasing anxiety and depression, providing students and our families with additional support to help them achieve their educational goals. So a lot of you may be wondering how a student participates in the Bridge program. It starts with a referral from those who are closest to the students, your teachers, your counselors, your community members who are all wonderfully here this evening, our coaches, even all of yourselves. Each person plays a key part in helping our students to advance. All you have to do is utilize the QR code that's on the flyer. You will see that in the presentation later. Our team, once again, you will then enter in for the referral, you'll gain consent and establish a care plan if eligible. The more our students are supported, the more they're able to overcome the challenges that they face in classroom and in life. So please help us share this word. That's why we're here this evening, asking all of Mayor, all the council, and all of you wonderful community members, help us to share the word so we can better support our students. They are facing many challenges today, those they speak about and those that they don't. And it's all of our responsibilities to help make that positive impact. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, next we have Brian Brickley. Good evening.
I'm Brian Brickley. My wife and Lisa and I own the tap room just down the street. And I'm here regarding the resolution 229, as many of these folks already know. We've owned the tap room for 30 years, and recently we've seen some really significant safety issues related to the property on Washington Street. As happened last summer, the groups that are congregating on and around the property, they engage in harassing behavior with our customers, our employees. Open drug use, sales, as well as prostitution are ongoing. I've just barely avoided being assaulted myself in the middle of the day. I witnessed a transactional sex act in the alley at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon a couple weeks ago. In addition, there's trash, human waste, hypodermic needles littering the area. I've lost a lot of long-term customers that tell us they just can't run the gauntlet anymore between Fair Street to get into our lot. Our employees need to call the police to get an escort to their car at closing time. We're open kind of late, so as you can imagine. And we've lost employees who just aren't going to risk it anymore. We've been here 30 years. When we opened, we had 60 seats. Now we have 160. Went from 5 employees to 20. We represent the best of what downtown could and should be, in my opinion, my humble opinion. Pay over 30,000 hours a year in taxes. And hopefully you might have noticed we just painted our building. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're trying. But if this continues, you can just add 3 more vacant storefronts. And I'm not kidding, and it won't take long. You can probably hear the emotion in my voice. The tap room is a social hub of downtown. We welcome everybody, black, white, young and old, gay and straight, rich and poor. And they gather as friends to give hope to the promise that different people can join together and be neighbors and good friends. But they won't gather if fear and filth keep them from even getting to our front door. And 30 years of work will be for nothing. The resolution, in my opinion, is just an acknowledgement there are people doing good things downtown, quietly investing, improving, and employing, and that the city values us and will take some steps to help do something about this problem that is unprecedented in my long time here as a graduate of Ypsi High School. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
Hey.
Okay. Listen. I want to be really honest. If we want to get through this and we want to hear every single voice, we've had this happen before. We cannot do that, okay? We need to respect every voice, even if it doesn't agree with what you think. We will respect you. We want to respect everyone, all right? So we can get through this. So please hold your boos and your applause, okay? Thank you so much. Next is Christine Poirier. I hope I said that correctly. Poirier, my apologies. Good evening.
Good evening. I'm going to use all 3 of my minutes, so I'm going to time myself here.
Okay.
My name, for the record, is Christine Poirier. I am a 3-year citizen of the city of Ypsilanti, and 4 months a recovering alcoholic. And it's been very, very difficult, as I'm sure a lot of people have struggled with this particular issue in their life. In that week in June, it was June 15th, I stopped drinking, and it was the hardest week of my life. I had the shakes. I didn't think I was capable of having the shakes. I didn't think I drank enough. I didn't think that could happen to me, that my body would betray me like that. I felt like I'd failed. I felt like I had nobody who would understand me and support me. I was alone all day. And I went downtown just looking for community. I didn't know what I'd find. And I found Fed Up. And this is what's kept me on their mission for this entire time. That they helped me pick up trash around town. I delivered sandwiches to the homeless. I've delivered homeless people to see their children who haven't seen them for months. Now I deliver propane tanks to people who live in the woods. All of this is to say that let's remove Fed Up from the situation. I go downtown, and what do I see but the tap room? I see Bobcat Bonnie's. I see the liquor store 5 steps away from Fed Up. I see all the drinking I could be doing in the empty parking lot that stood there right before they got there for years. That was nothing there. And that's where I would have gone to do an open air sex act, to go drink, to go cause a ruckus. And these people have kept that area downtown, Black Lives Matter Boulevard, a safe, responsible part of our community. Pastor Anna has been working above and beyond. This year, she secured $50,000 in funds for Fed Up, which is nothing compared to the salary of the average Ypsilanti police officer. And you want to send police officers down there every 30 minutes to go, I've heard people say, pour out people's drinks in front of them and start fights themselves. They want what? A police officer to walk up to that open air sex act and go shame a woman and drag her out into the street and say that you can't do that here. We want to prioritize the people with money by removing Black people from Black Lives Matter Boulevard. That's not what Ypsilanti is about. That's not what we're about. I'm near the end of my time here, and I think I'm at a good stopping point. I don't support Section K. I don't support anyone who supports Section K, and I don't support any additional police on Black Lives Matter Boulevard. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Jim Clark. Oh, Jim. Okay. Good evening.
Just so I'm not right in his face or. My name is Jim Clark. I live at 116 College Place, and this is about resolution 2024-228. The way this resolution describes the downtown area is idyllic, almost Sesame Street. Now, you remember Sesame Street had a character called Oscar. He was a homeless person sleeping in a trash can. David and Maria accepted them as a member of the community. So did Mr. Hooper. That's because Sesame Street meets everyone where they are and provides a sense that everyone belongs, true community. Speaking of David and Maria, have any of you come to meet the people in your neighborhood besides the business owners and the tourists? It might help if you do before passing this draconian and inhumane resolution. We could be building a community like Sesame Street, one of safety, care, and diversity for everyone. This resolution is very dehumanizing, and every time it mentions humans, residents, visitors, and business owners, it leaves out a subgroup of people. It refers to them as the vulnerable population. This objectifies them. It turns them into a thing. They are human beings, refugees seeking sanctuary. The fact that this language is even being used gives me chills. Turning human beings into objects is how murderers and human traffickers justify themselves. It even objectifies the people doing the drug dealing, the violence, and the threatening behavior. This resolution reads like a mandate for politicide. Now I'm addressing the person or people who came up with this resolution. What you're offering us is a police state. You want diversity without the clutter of a vulnerable population. You want a brave new world where all are blissfully unaware of human suffering. You want peace and tranquility at the expense of other people's lives. People seeking shelter in the downtown core are referred to as pests by city officials. What do we do with pests? You want to sweep them through intimidation and arrest. What's next? A train out of town? This resolution is some serious, sick Nazi bullshit, and whoever wrote it should check themselves. The community of the downtown core has been asking for a sheltering center for years. If you're going to spend money on increased policing, wouldn't it make more sense to provide the sheltering center instead? You could buy the building from Beale. You could even donate one. The community of care can run the show. This is a humane and correct way to address this issue. The positive collateral impact of this is that it takes the pressure off the police and the residents and the business owners and the employees and the refugees, and it effectively solves the problem. The Daytime Warming Center has been operating successfully for 4 years now. During the winter, they host the same people that come to Fed Up for services. They are trained and skilled in conflict resolution and de-escalation. They don't have the problems the resolution refers to as negative collateral impact or damage. This is because they take time to build relationships with the whole community, like David and Maria. They are given the space and the autonomy to build a community that can support people in need, not arrest and banish them. Please decide wisely.
Thank you. I implore you to hold it, please. Please. Kelly Callison, also city manager. I don't have any of the consent agenda. Okay. Good evening.
I won't use my 3 minutes. Hello, my name is Kelly Callison. I've been a business owner and resident here in Ypsilanti for the last 11 years. During those 11 years, I've occupied 3 buildings on Michigan Avenue. My most current is Michigan Avenue and Washington. When I hear people say that we don't have an issue in Ypsi, I struggle with that internally because
Please stop, because you will have to be removed. Please don't do that. Please continue.
because I personally, along with my kids, go out into the community. I've worked with Pastor Anna. We go out and we pick up trash. I know the names of people up and down that street. We have meals with them and we give them whatever we have in the shop for food or drink that they need. We've had guys come in and ask us for clothing because they're too cold and they don't have jackets for winter, and we do those things. At the same time, I had someone come into my shop this last Friday and threaten my life and steal off of my racks. And I didn't know how to react to that because I knew him. He's been in my store. We've had conversations. We've sat on the stoop and had conversations, and I didn't know how to react. All of that said, there is an open air drug issue in the city. People are buying and selling drugs on a daily basis in the lot right off of Washington behind Puffer Reds. My children and I were out picking up trash just last month, and we watched it happen 3 times at 10 o'clock in the morning, broad daylight. There is daily intoxication. My children watched people having sex on the sidewalk as we were walking down Washington picking up trash. That is an issue that needs resolved. I don't know what the solution is, but it is not fair to expect citizens and property owners and building owners to shoulder that burden when we are doing the best we can as it is. I have zero problem with people coming and hanging out. They sit in my stoop and we talk and we have conversations all the time. But it can't be done at the detriment to the community as a whole and other people around us.
Thank you. Ray Smith. Good evening.
I'm an Ypsi Township resident. My name is Ray Smith, and I work in Ypsilanti. I would like to support Alex Monroe for the Police Advisory Commission. I think he's a very level-headed gentleman and would be an asset to the city. I'm here about resolution number 229. I have personally been assaulted in Ypsilanti, and the criminal that committed the assault was just had his judgment last month. I've had friends who have been assaulted out on Washington Street. I know of someone who's been stabbed. I see hypodermic needles and other various things. I see feces on the ground. I've personally witnessed sex acts being done on the street. I have a friend who worked at the salon. The salon is no longer there because it was so terrible, and they couldn't even get clients to come in. At the end of the day, you have residents and patrons of the city that are providing to the city means to function. And if you're not going to take care of them and you're going to allow vagrancy to reign supreme, we have a real problem here. It's been a situation where, and some of these people that are hanging out there are not homeless. They have homes. It's this attitude too that it's racist to ask for the police to actually enforce the law is nonsense. It's acting like, people of African American descent can't follow the law, and they can't. It's nonsense to believe that we have a situation. It's nonsense to believe that we have a situation that is uncontrollable. If they need a place to stay, take them to the Hogback Hilton. They get 3 hots and a cot. Hey, I got my 3 minutes. Again, if we are going to have people getting assaulted and randomly attacked, we're having children that are seeing sex acts, hypodermic needles, feces, urine. What are you guys paid to do? There's a certain point to where you have to start enforcing laws. You have to start protecting the citizens of this city. I've had multiple people as a realtor that have looked at buying houses in Ypsilanti, and then when they come to downtown, they roll out. So again, it's a situation where you need to start dealing with the problem, and it's been bad, and it has gotten to a point now where it is untenable. So again, it needs to stop. Whatever you guys do, fix the problem.
Thank you. Max Rickard. Good evening.
Evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Max. I am a 10-year resident of the city of Ypsilanti. Firstly, this is a bit of a side because the main topic seems to be resolution 229, but I also do want to say I oppose resolution 228. Ypsi residents have a right to decide and should be able to have to vote on this issue. If you pass this, you're stripping us of our civic rights. I also wholeheartedly oppose resolution 229. The language is alarming and unsettling and does not actually equate to so-called public safety. I do want to validate concerns of feeling unsafe. However, I am disappointed and disgusted with the dehumanization of the community that is referenced on Washington Street. If the city is actually concerned with the safety of the whole community, not just business owners, they would make eliminating homelessness a top priority. The lack of a push for a homeless shelter and other third spaces for the houseless is despicable and unjust. Mutual aid groups have taken to assist our houseless neighbors, and it's not enough. Also, the police do not keep us safe. They actively terrorize us and our communities and only serve to protect private property. I urge City Council to come up with an actual plan to address the situation on Washington Street and not to depend on police terror to do so. The issue on Washington Street falls on the city and slumlords like Stuart Beale. This is on you, and there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to use the bathroom. There's nowhere for people to just exist. If people want to get pissed, they need to get pissed about the cost of housing and gentrification that Beale and Barnes and every other slumlord who's responsible for the impossible cost of living in Ypsilanti. The resolution is racist and implies that increased policing is the solution. Please, please better utilize the public safety and mental health millage and do something to acknowledge and help our houseless neighbors and communities of Ypsilanti. They're humans just like us. They exist. They're part of our community, and something needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Emily Hawkins. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Emily Hawkins, and I'm a resident of Ypsilanti City. Excuse the tears. This resolution states that it's inappropriate, I'm speaking about resolution 228. States that it's inappropriate to focus on the concerns of a select group of people in Ypsilanti. And then in the very next breath, it states that it's prioritizing the expectations of the business owners and property owners in the city and what they consider to be safe. The business owners and property owners do not speak for me as a resident, and they don't speak for visitors or people who stay here. They should only be able to speak for themselves. The resolution goes on to blame supportive services as being a cause of violence and threats in the city. This resolution feels to me as a violent threat. A lot of us here have feces and urine in common. That's part of our experience. And the police, to name the police as the main focus does not help us. Doesn't help us manage our bodies' needs throughout the day, and it doesn't give us a place to sleep. Please reject this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Sigrid Melvin. Sigrid? Yeah. Good evening.
Down the street. And, well, to kind of follow up Mr. Hicks, 2 years ago when the NEMDOT came through and broke up all of Michigan Avenue for almost, 8 months? So businesses kind of lost business. Now, this year, we don't have a library, which makes it horrible, especially that we have students and we're a college town. I walk up and down the street, there ain't nobody on the street. A few people not even come out for lunch. Most of the restaurants are gone. That's it. We got 2 new ones in the works. But what we're gonna do to get life in here? Now, the problem with the homeless and that, well, it's a $10 billion story, because between the hospitals, the hospital, and the police department's been going on for years. Now, there's a 40 acres sitting right there called Water Street. Why don't we get the truck there, get the National Guard or Uncle Sam to get us a big tent, some cots, or better than get those little tooth sheds, so individual have a little house, because winter is coming. You know, plus I watched one of the policeman helping a homeless person on YouTube. Well, the first thing he had to do, get him a driver's license. Because without a driver's license, you nothing. And social security, social welfare, they won't help because you don't have a driver's license, you don't have a steady address. So that's, I don't know how many of them have a driver's license and qualified for welfare. That's the other side of the story. And that's kind of sad. This is a couple of follow-ups on the orders from our building. And to give you an idea how they think and what we seniors have to go through. Like telling us how to clean, how that, plus, now, since it's a new management company and they don't know which bank has our bank account. So you can pay with a check or you can pay with a money order. But better ask for the receipt so you make sure it works. Plus, they charge you $6 for giving them the check. And on top of that, they charge you a daily late charge. According to the months, it's like $35.
Thank you, Sigrid. Do you want to give me that? Can you give that to Lori so I can have it?
All of those.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Plus, we had a water leak.
Mhm.
When it comes to help us.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Pressure's still in the hallway. So we need to get life in the city, including our building.
Thank you so much, Sigrid. Thank you. Daniel Colmenares?
Okay.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I wanted to address this issue today. A little bit about myself. My name is Daniel. I have lived in Ypsilanti for, I don't know, 10 years about. I graduated from EMU. I have a degree in anthropology. I also am going to WCC for another degree. I work full-time, I study full-time. This is my community. Like these are like, I love Ypsi. I live on the corner of Michigan Ave in Washington. Another thing is I have been in recovery for 7+ years. I'm free of drugs and alcohol. I can sympathize with a lot of the people that we're addressing here, their struggles, because I have lived some of that. I want to say that police does not make us safer. There are problems. I'm not going to disagree. There are problems, but for the multiple experiences that I've had and the research out there demonstrates police will not solve this issue. This is a structural issue. This is much deeper than just putting a cop or cameras or whatever vague language you want to use, put whatever means and wash your hands away of the people you don't want around, who are also coincidentally Black and brown. So as someone who has been in active addiction and without a place to sleep at times, I want to tell you that what we need is not cops. We need housing and resources without strings attached. That is what we need. We can't expect to fix this with tools that have demonstrated that they won't work. Why are we doing things that we know will not work? Just because they make us feel good? They make business owners feel good? I mean, I live here. I know some of these people. I'm saying there are problems, but these people, we need to find ways that actually work, not this meaningless gestures that, putting cops and stuff. Where are they going to go? There are no options here for people. There are no options. I just want to say my strong opposition as someone who lives here, who works here, who the whole community is here. So with that, I close.
Thank you. Brian Geringer? Good evening.
Good evening, council. Good evening, everyone. Yo, what? This shit is so crazy. Like, what did you do? What are you doing? Patrick, by the way, Patrick McLean, everybody, unelected, unopposed in the upcoming election, appointed by people who were largely also unelected or unopposed. This is the democracy we get. It's beautiful, isn't it? So anyway, I'm one of the authors of the Police Budget Oversight Initiative. I don't know if you all are aware of that. You never responded to my communications, except for you. But yeah, it's actually not vague. It's actually pretty clear. Here's how it goes. If you want to increase the police budget, let's say for fiscal year 27-28, you need to get that approved in the 2026 general election. Budgeted police expenditures is not an ambiguous statement. The amount you have allocated to police is a number. If you want that number to be bigger next time, you go to a vote. It's pretty simple. I'm actually absolutely appalled by the anti-democratic tendencies exhibited by Councilmember McLean and whatever staff members recommended approving this gross attempted overstep of power and anyone who votes for it. I'm not going to say that next part. It's too mean. Yeah, the whole point of ballot initiatives is that it is the voice of the people. It is not the voice of council, because you didn't do what the people wanted. The people get to do what they want. So for you to then step in and say, oh, no, we don't want that, you're missing the point. You're missing the point. Attorney Barr should have never stopped the tenants' rights ballot initiative. I think you should talk to the county about it. And luckily, we still have that initiative. We will submit it again once Attorney Barr has left the building. Anyways, it's an incredible irony to list resolutions 228 and 229 right next to each other on the same agenda, because if anything lacks clarity, it's Mr. McLean's resolution number 229. You want the city manager to use all appropriate resources? That could include just about anything. For instance, does this give the city manager the power to dissolve the DDA and use their budget for policing Washington Street? Why not? It seems appropriate to me. So this is, I think, basically an emergency manager resolution. And that doesn't have the best track record in Michigan. We all know, I mean, treating individuals as subhuman, it's also collective punishment. The only solution will come from the community. And you have had opportunities for that, including care-based safety, and you've turned them down. But now is the opportunity to try again. The last thing I wrote was a threat. I won't say the threat, but see you soon.
Thanks, Brian. Pete Moss Ellis. Okay. All right. Good evening.
I want to address the people.
I'm sorry, you have to address council.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I think that I love to see everybody out here. We're out here motivated by love. It's true that homelessness has increased in Ypsilanti.
I'm sorry, you have to address council. I know, but you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's true that homelessness has increased in Washtenaw County and Ypsilanti. I've worked at the warming center the last 5 years, and because of the landlords, because of the failures of the city and the government to take care of our people, there are more homeless people. There's no library. There's no place for people to hang out.
And so they're hanging out the only place that they're allowed, and we want to arrest them for that. And people have been arrested for just hanging out and sitting in the only place that you're available to sit in the city of Ypsilanti without spending money. I think that this is awful, and it's what we can expect from city council if we don't do something about it. So I think that it's our responsibility. It is our responsibility as the people of Ypsilanti to hold city council accountable, to hold the police accountable, to do things that we know that will work. I say, house the homeless. You guys say, tax the landlords. House the homeless. House the homeless.
I'm really trying, y'all. I really am. I respect you all. I really do. But I need you to really respect what I'm telling you. I need you to address council. We won't get anywhere. We won't get anywhere. And I sincerely mean that. I want to hear everybody. We all want to hear everyone. I can't take the disrespect. You're disrespecting the audience as well. Because now I have to stop and address you and address the audience when we can keep going. So please, I implore you all to please address council when you come forward, approach this process with respect for everyone so we can move through this meeting. Please, please, please.
Am I allowed to speak?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we know what works and they know what works and they're not doing it. And so the only thing that I can assume from the city's failures to take care of its homeless is that they don't care. And they're not going to care until we do something about it, until we make them care. And the time is now. You know, the library is closed. They're taking away all of the things that we need in order to be alive. And now they're saying feeding people is what's causing people to have a hard time. And food is an important step, but it's not everything that we need. People need housing, people need water, people need a place to shit after 11 p.m. And there's nowhere to do that in the city of Ypsilanti. And so if you're upset about feces, if you're upset about people being outside, then why not make there be somewhere, anywhere that they can be inside without spending money?
Thank you. Mandy Lee or Lay?
If anybody else hates the cops and want a sandwich, talk to me.
Mandy?
What was her name?
Pete Moss Ellis?
Pete.
Mandy. Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
I didn't really prepare much to say, but Resolution 229 is worse than doing nothing. It's so much worse than doing absolutely nothing. What these people need is public housing. They need homeless shelters. They need harm reduction facilities. And like you just have no idea what it's like to sleep in a tent while it's pouring outside in the rain, while it's cold outside. You have no idea how that hurts people, how hard that is. It makes every problem 100 times worse. And you just need to do better. We don't need this. These people have nothing. These people have nothing, and they're the best of us. They're the best of us. They give so much, even when they have nothing. And if you even want to think about doing anything like this resolution says, why don't you go to a homeless encampment and talk to people and ask them what they need? I'm sure they would tell you. This is just sad and disgusting and barbaric, and we can do better.
Thank you. Lucas Fuller. Good evening.
Hello, my name is Lucas Fuller. I've never spoken at one of these before, but I have been an Ypsilanti resident since I was born. I've lived here for the entire now 22 years of my life. And I have seen some of the problems that you're talking about. I have seen hypodermic needles. I've seen discarded used condoms. But you know what would make that entire problem go away? some needle deposit boxes, like they have in Canada on every street. I've gone to Canada, I have family up there, never seen a needle anywhere. You know what would stop all the feces in the streets and the urine? How about some public bathrooms, right? That you can just walk into without needing to go into a store or to the library that's now closed. If you want to get rid of trash on the streets, how about some more trash cans? If you don't want people doing illegal activities, how about some street lights? It looks pretty dark outside, right? We know that police do not solve problems. If you have looked at the news, the only thing they do is exacerbate it. You're worried about people getting stabbed, and your solution is to have more armed, racist people with guns come in and just give them carte blanche to do whatever they want. Your solution to the problem is to instigate violence. That is worse than doing nothing. If you want to get rid of homeless people, there's a solution. Build homes. Give them for free. If you don't like seeing homeless people, maybe give them a home. Why not yours? How many do you have anyway?
Thank you. I believe this Jean Adwar or Jean, and I apologize for Adwani. Good evening.
Good evening. Hi, I'm Jeannie Adwani. I am a business owner on Michigan Avenue. I have a shop. I've been in Ypsilanti. I've lived here for 10 years, and I love Ypsilanti. And I do want to acknowledge all of you here and thank you for everything you've said, by the way, because there's things I do think we have a homeless problem, and yes, I don't think the police is the answer. I think, yes, getting homes for these peoples. And I will say at the same time, as a business owner downtown, it has been difficult. I have tried to speak to people in Washington. I could have gotten a nice cheaper rent on Washington Street. I have a clientele-based business, and people were not friendly. People were aggressive. I haven't seen all the fecal matter and the condoms and all that kind of stuff. I will say that's true. My concern is safety for all of us, not just for my clients or for who comes to my shop. I want safety for the people that are on the street, that are sitting around with nothing to do, or there's no place for them to go. I think the young gentleman who was just before me, yeah, bathrooms, little places where they can go and do their business. I don't have an answer except that how do we provide safe places for those that have no place to go? I want to feel safe when I walk down Washington Street, and I don't. I feel accosted, and I'm not a scaredy cat. I'll talk to anybody at least once, So I'm hoping, I don't know what the answer is, but I do agree that I'm not sure that the policing it, certainly not arresting these people unless they really do a criminal act. I mean, a serious criminal act. Yeah, then something has to happen. But I do support my downtown business people. We want to feel safe. And Kelly, who's my neighbor here, essentially, I almost rented that space, and I did not rent it because it sits on the corner of Michigan Avenue in Washington, and I would have been experiencing the exact same things that she has shared with you this evening. So it's a difficult situation. And again, I don't have an answer for it, and I'm just up here winging it. But I really hope we find an answer to this. And I think there's a lot of suggestions. I think listening to the homeless people is what we need. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Aaron Von Bargen. Good evening.
Evening. My name's Aaron. I'm a resident of the city of Ypsilanti. I'm also here to speak against Resolution 229. I'm disgusted that this would even make it onto the agenda. As people before me have said, the police do not keep us safe. Know that passing this resolution will dramatically increase violence and criminalization of some of the most marginalized people in our community. When the cops kill someone as a result of this, that's going to be on your hands if you pass this. This resolution solves nothing. It only serves to protect the wallets of slumlords like Beal and business owners who see their interests as tied in with his. It subjects marginalized people to greater violence than they already experienced, and it tries to push those people out of public view while not addressing the roots of the issues that they face. As you all know, these issues are systemic, and the way to address them is by supporting those that are trying to address the roots of those problems and those that are trying to make people's lives easier along the way. Support programs like Fed Up, like the Warming Center, like CBS. These are the things that are really helping people, not the police. The police never do. The roots of these problems are evictions. They are the cops. They are the courts that people are constantly having to go through this process that keeps them down. And through all that, I've found so much community and so much resilience in the people around Fed Up. And I see their bravery, and that's like what motivates me to come out here and stand with them. And so I just really strongly urge you to not pass this resolution. It's taking our city in a really reactionary and terrible direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Moore? Good evening.
Hey, good evening. I'm Jeff Muir, and I live in the 3rd Ward on Charles Street. I also operate a business at 10 North Washington Street, the old Go Ice Cream location. So I sit and look out that window every day across the street. I've worked down there for 5 years every day. So I've seen a lot of the things that we're talking about, both ways. So that's really what I want to do, is just share some of the things I've seen every day being down on Washington Street. Seeing weekly people standing in the vestibule across the street, urinating, defecating, seeing sex acts in the alley directly across the street, seen multiple assaults. And I've seen multiple assaults between, people who were partying together 15 minutes earlier. Because, party gets going and things get kind of crazy. It's not just business owners who are at risk down there. It's not just shoppers who are at risk. It's also people who come from all walks of life that I've seen getting, assaulted and harassed down there. I've personally been unsuccessfully assaulted in front of my business, threatened to have the windows broken out. This was, just a couple weeks after the assault across the street at 23 North Washington. I don't think this resolution 229 is going to cure the problem or solve anything, solve everything. I don't even know if it would really make much of a difference. The way I read it, it says they're going to direct appropriate resources that already exist to addressing this problem. And based on that understanding, I'd like to see some of that happen. I'd like to just see once an hour a city vehicle or a police vehicle drive down that street, not to arrest people, but just to keep things moving, so that people can come in and conduct business or whatever. Part of what we do is bring new businesses into town. And we had the listing at at Deja Vu, the suite on Washington. We walked multiple business owners over there who came from Detroit, who came from Lansing, who came from, all over. And you can imagine what they asked us when we walked past 23 North Washington and the tattoo shop and the party there. They said, "Does this happen every day here?" "Yep." How long you been down here? 5 years. This goes on every day. Yeah, when the weather's nice. No one does anything? Not really. Okay, well, we're gonna not move our business here, you know? We finally did get someone in there, but we lost a lot of other, what could have been pretty cool businesses that want to move into Ypsilanti, you know, because of those issues. So I don't think of this in a super extreme way, like it's a police state on the one hand, or it's this on the other, but just show the people on Washington that you care about us too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek Taylor. Your name's on here. Good evening.
So, how you doing, everybody?
State your name for the record.
Derek Taylor. I'd like to address the council. One thing about Ypsilanti is that we have a very large community here. And we don't need to separate homeless from people that have homes or business. But there is an issue, a big issue about homeless. And we don't know how to address that. Nobody know how to address that. But if we see everybody in here, we
Please
all
address,
Ypsilanti.
you gotta address council. You gotta address council.
You see everybody in here, we all from Ypsi. Am I right? Okay. We got business owners. We have people that don't have businesses, but have homes. And we all want to communicate and congregate with each other. And I am a property manager here in Ypsilanti, but I'm on Washtenaw, and that's Ypsilanti Township. And one thing I would like to say is that we have a person that's breaking into our cars in my community that has not been addressed. So there is a big issue about policing. One thing I want to address to this council is that we need more policing here in Ypsilanti. Not to address the homeless issue, because that right there is separated. It's for someone that's in mental health community or any health community that can address homeless. But there's a whole bunch of other things that attributes that falls in place with it. So far as over here on Washington Street, there's homeless there. So to me, that's just life. And there's no other way for some peoples that see living here in Ypsilanti other than hanging out at a certain area, and they feel safe. That's one of their safe havens. So I feel that we shouldn't take that away from them, but try to find a way for them to prosper in life, just as well as you guys are, you know. So, I mean, that's all I want to say. And I thank you guys for listening to me tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Isha Wall. Good evening.
This resolution is endorsing violence against our homeless community members. The framing of safety for residents, business owners, and visitors at the expense of a subsection of the population is establishing a legal precedent for violence and repression against those with no legal residency. It is establishing a precedent for violence against our most dispossessed and vulnerable community members. It is naming our most disrespected, policed, and violated community members as enemy number one to the development of Ypsilanti as what? A tourist town, a university city, the best place to go if you're looking for 10 tarot stores on one block? Homeless people are not the problem. The price of housing is the problem. Average rent in Ypsi for a one-bedroom apartment is over $1,000. Rent has raised more than 3% in the last year. Have wages raised to match these costs? No. At this rate, every single one of us who has to pay rent will end up homeless. outside with nowhere to go, with no opportunities because we're in a city that is determined to treat us like we're less than dogs. How many of you have slept on concrete for a day, let alone weeks and months, because you've been priced out of your home and your city refuses to build a shelter or fund services you could rely on? You go on and lay down outside for a night or two, and then you can lecture us about being an upstanding citizen in those conditions. And if you're worried about your business, I bet you're worried about making ends meet. And I bet you're worried about making rent. To all business owners, you will never be able to clean your way out of this collapse. With societal collapse getting worse and worse, the city and its multi-millionaires are going to try to shove the police down our throats as the answer to everything constantly. The answer to the chaos of inequality is not the threat of violence or punishment from the city or its police. Our solutions must come from us and will require that we become more human, more kind, more understanding, more giving, and more collective. Whether we own a business or not, eat out at local restaurants or not, shop locally or not, as long as we are renting, our housing is at the mercy of multi-millionaire landlords like Stuart Beale, who are openly antagonistic toward people struggling to survive. He has literally openly argued for services that feed and take care of people to be shut down. One of his bigger buildings could be turned into a shelter, and he refuses because he makes money off of the threat of homelessness, forcing us to give him our money hand over fist so we can stay housed. And why should he care? He's worth millions because we have to pay him in order to not end up on the street where he will describe how much we don't deserve support. Stuart Beale and other big landlords in this area are a threat against all of us. Rent increases will price you out of your home and your business swiftly. And then if this resolution passes, the only help you will be offered is handcuffs or the gun. This body has done little to proactively resolve the needs of its constituents, whether they like those constituents or not. Let's be clear, there are thousands more renters in this city than there are business owners or landlords.
Thank you.
Programming like care-based safety is life-saving and society transforming. It is a net win. You refuse to fund it and then pretend that it is failing. You create the conditions for failure and allow us to fight one another when what we really need to happen is that slumlords in this area need to be dealt with. Your constituents have tenants' rights to sign in the hundreds to get on it, and you try to destroy their opportunity to vote on it.
So we're gonna adjourn the meeting for a beat because again, I asked for respect, right?
The resolution is not respectful to us.
We're gonna adjourn for 10 minutes. Thank you. We all need a beat, don't we? 10 minutes. As long
Is this a resolution or no?
Oh, you know what?
Oh, okay, but these are mine.
These are yours.
Okay.
Printed some double-sided. So I exercise that's
Oh, okay.
resolution within the other.
Yeah, okay.
The double-sided side, you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
The one she gave me,
Correct.
some were one side, some were double.
Okay.
You mean to give all those to me, the ones you're gonna send there? Or do you think I can?
No, I just gave out the other ones that I was giving out.
Okay.
It's not. It's not. No problem.
I know that it's been a heated meeting.
You know, and this is the thing, whatever. Here. But we can't do it that way, right? We can't do it that